Okay, dear listeners, we are lucky to be sitting here tonight with Mr. Dave McGowan, one of the owners of Broughton Brewery. Thanks for being here with us tonight, Dave. Much appreciated. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and thanks very much for the invite. Looking forward to chatting
Oh,
about beer, as always.
yeah, no, honestly, our pleasure. Thank you for coming on. I'm also here with Stu. He's reminded me to remind you guys that he is here as well.
No need for introduction,
'Cause,
Tom. Everyone knows I'm here.
Apparently, I've been doing a bad job introducing him. So yeah, to actually get into kind of you joining Broughton, I'm assuming it wasn't, you went on an interview and had to kind of, do any preparation the night before, just swatting up. Was it a bit more easier than that, or what was the actual process of getting into the company?
Well, the process was myself and a couple of others that I'd worked beside, was four of us in total. We knew that the business was unofficially up for sale.
Oh,
And,
okay.
So we made an approach to the owner. There was the usual toing and froing. But I think one of the things that he liked about us, that we were genuinely passionate about beer, and we recognised that this was in many ways a unique brewery. If you go back to when Broughton was founded in 1979, breweries at that point were consolidating, they were closing, there was less and less. I think when it opened, there was about 8 or 9 independent breweries in Scotland. So it very much went against the trend. And, whilst the people who set it up were, dare I say, quite conservative by nature, they were almost, they epitomised that sort of punk spirit, and that they went against the grain and they did something different. So, we had to ensure that we respected the authenticity, the traditions, and the beers that come out of the brewery. And there was a financial aspect as well, but that was really what it was about. Was we thought there was something that we could bring to the party, and the values that we had aligned with those of the previous owner. One of the really nice parts of that journey is that Broughton was first set up by 2 individuals, a guy called David Younger, and that's from the Younger brewing family. If you're familiar with, they started off in Alloa. They've got a really strong tradition in Scotland, or awareness in Scotland. They were also very strong in export and in London as well. So David was part of the Younger family, who had originally gone from Alloa to Alloa to Edinburgh. And the other guy was James Collins. And I don't know much about James Collins, apart from he was from Collins Publishing. So when you're younger, if any of your listeners remember, your pocket German, your pocket French, Germans that you put into the class when you were cheating in your exams to look up the translation. So he was part of that family. So that's where there's a bit of a kind of character and literary aspect to some of the branding. So you two really nice stories. But the reason I mentioned him was that the Younger family ceased to be involved in the brewery around about 1994-95, and for various reasons. When we took over 2015, they actually hadn't been in the premises for nearly 20 years, and we got David Younger back in. He's a fairly regular visitor, and now we've got one of his daughters, Camilla, is back working for us part-time.
Oh, wow.
And Camilla had been there right at the start. I think she was sort of mid-teens, helping out family business. She's come back to us. So, it's really nice to, just play a part of that. And, in terms of, the Younger family, there's a couple of different strands, and there's a couple of different Younger families, but you're looking at a family who can trace the brewing dynasty back to the 1850s. So
wow.
They kind of know their stuff, and when they speak, I listen. Sometimes.
To follow that up, we've asked this to everyone, but David, when it comes to your personal taste, where do you lean? Are you more of a traditional ales type of guy, or are you for like the more exotic craft beers. And now obviously your brewery has a nice label of both, so it's not obvious which way you lean if you do.
Yes, well, I tend to go through phases of what my favourite beer is, and I think quite a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I absolutely love, and there's an interesting story behind it, is a beer we do called Champion Double Ale. No, we're not doing that at the moment for just lockdown reasons and such like. But essentially, it's a mix of a Scotch ale and a stout. It's a 50-50 blend.
Sounds amazing.
For me, that sort of beer is quite different from the style that I would normally drink, but I just absolutely love it. And the background to this is a brand that had been in the Broughton family in the early 2000s. And I don't know why, but they stopped brewing it about 2007, 2008. And I said to Ian, who's our head brewer, what does Champion Double Ale taste like? And he kind of describes it, but unless you actually taste it. And I said, well, tell me a beer that it's kind of close to. And he said, well, if you take Old Jock, that's our kind of Scotch ale, and if you take Stout Jock, that's our stout, and you do a sort of 50-50 blend, that's what it would taste like.
That's the best sounding snake bite, I think.
Well, it doesn't
existence.
have the blackcurrant in it, but so yours truly immediately rushes home that night, makes up the 50-50 blend, and tries it. Thinks, oh, that's brilliant! I love it. And but I then sort of, right, we're going to brew some of that, and of course the rest of the team will say, yeah, right, okay, who are you going to sell it to? I don't know, I'll find somebody to sell it to. So that brand came back in the market basically because of my personal passion for it. So I'm very fond of that. At the moment, I'm just going to open one just now, if I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So our lager is, for me, simple, easy to drink. I like the particularly the Munich style lagers. I was fortunate enough to I worked in Munich for a period of time, so things like Augustiner and Paulaner and those particular beers. And so when we're doing some stuff in our lager, I'm constantly on our brewing team saying, it's got to be as good as Augustiner. It's got to be as good as Augustiner. So we're getting there because we've got that kind of light sort of Hellas taste. So I'm a fan of that. So if you don't mind, I'm going to just pour one of these.
Go for it.
Cheers to yourselves and the audience as well.
Cheers.
Tom, which one are you trying just now?
Yeah, I'm currently drinking the Session IPA, and you and me are both fans of that, right, Stu?
I know. I tried that last night, and I was just
really good.
Surprised because I'm fussy when it's like Session IPAs. Like, I always drink them. I was like, man, it would be really good if it wasn't like not it's not watered down, but it feels like that. It feels like it'd be good if it's stronger, but that defeats the point of Session.
Yeah. It's a really nice liquid, that one. It's easy to drink, it's refreshing, but it's just got a wee bit of taste and a wee bit of character in it, and that's something that we try to do with all of our beers, is just make sure that we've got a bit of character in it, and just something that's a bit different. And particularly with some of our stronger beers, one of the things that we always try to do with them is we want people to drink them and think, hey, that's really good, but we also want them to think it's a serious beer as well. And there's just, you try and get a bit of complexity in there that just challenges people to think, right, okay, this gets something to it. I'm going to try some more of that because I want to, experience that again. So that's really important to the way that we do things.
Is that the thinking behind the HOPO line? I mean, what is the kind of history behind that? What was the thinking behind its kind of?
Well, we had our sort of darker, more traditional style beers. And what we wanted to do with HOPO was to have a range of beers that would appeal to people who had heard of this thing called craft, but didn't want to be scared by, the Devil Ate My Grandmother's Triple Hop Goes banana bread beer. It was, I'm sure, they don't want to drink Carling. They've probably progressed beyond, Estrella or Peroni, but they're not yet ready to go absolutely full out.
Yeah.
So the idea was
tips on Rocky Road Milk Stout.
Yeah. So we just wanted something that was, that was easy to drink, that was a bit of fun, but had something to it, and the character we've got, the kind of HOPO character, the hippo in a barrel. You get some really interesting spellings of it. It's fun, it's quirky, but the beer's good as well.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, for sure.
What I do actually love about that HOPO artwork was, I think it was it last year you had a campaign to save the brewery, and you were selling artwork, and it was like almost like an Andy Warhol effect with all the different hippos.
Yes.
And I think I found the campaign 6 months after it closed, and I was like, oh,
you can still put money in.
That artwork looks lovely. I want that in my living room.
Well, I'll tell you what happened with that artwork, and I'll get you one. I'll get one once printed off for you. But one of the team at the brewery, John, is quite a fan of the sort of Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol style artwork, and he collects prints and things like that. And when we did a rebrand a couple of years ago, and he actually he said to me one day, he said, "By the way, I've asked JP, who's the designer, if he would just do something a little bit different for me, and just a graphic that captured them all, and that sort of goodness me, the sort of New York sort of factory style imagery of the 70s and 80s." So we got them put down as prints, and then the other thing that we did, I don't know if you saw it, but we had this particular one on the market, where we've kind of taken the colours that are in the print that you describe, and so this is quite a kind of complex beer. It's quite dark for a double IPA, but we wanted to get, it was a beer that was complex, but there's a bit of complexity and something interesting going on with the artwork as well, without going too overboard, and trying to stay true to our roots.